Okay. And welcome everyone to the Nicole Loving Earth podcast. Welcome. I want to say thank you to everybody who sent feedback on the past episodes and who's reached out. Thank you. Today we've got a very special episode. I have one of my nearest and dearest delsol here with me. So I'll have all the links for delsol's website and how to contact him in the notes below. And so you can reach out and make contact with him as well. But today the topic is all about evolution. And as I speak that, like my heart just absolutely went exploded. So I know today is going to be a very deep dive into everything in regards to evolution. You all know who I am, but I would love for you, delsol, to say hi to everyone and introduce yourself and what it is that you're here to do in this lifetime.
In this lifetime. I love that. I am delsol, Etienne. I'm an intuitive healer. And in this lifetime, I'm here to awaken the ancients within all of us. And that is through sound, vibrations, frequencies, through the heart space, that inner knowing of where we all venture from. And it is unlocking all the memories that we have stored within us through all the many lifetimes and the incarnations that we have been through in all realms, all dimensions, and all universes. So it's leading all us up into this very exact moment to bring all the ancients online, to teach the old ways to the new.
Mm. Oh, and I can feel everyone's heart just opening with the vibration and frequency of your voice, which you spoke of. Um, I love this, and I feel like when we talk about evolution, like what's come through for me recently is that connection of the old and new. You know, we hear that term a lot of being the bridge, right? Being I'm the bridge between the ancient and the modern. And just in the past couple of weeks, it all kind of presented to how we do that. So when we are going to step into evolution, we've got some beautiful things that we're going to discuss today. But what you just spoke of, delsol, I want to expand on it a little bit more, because what I was shown in visions and what I've been teaching in my meditations is like when we walk upon the earth barefoot, when we connect and we ground, and I can feel my heart and I can feel the emotion rising. It's all you, I know. But when we walk with our feet on the bare earth, this is us grounding and connecting to Mother Nature, and you know, we're being outside within nature, or being outside with our face to the sun and connecting to the sun elements. But when we're doing that, we're walking the path of all that have walked before us. We feel that we're just grounding and connecting to nature, but what we're actually doing is pulling through the codes of the ancients that have walked before us. So if we're conscious or intentional with that, we're literally pulling through that information from the ancients that have been here before us. And then with connection to consciousness, or that expansion of the tree, so our roots are going down, down, down to connect to all that ancient wisdom. And then our branches of our tree are expanding into all the modern of what's coming through, the information of moving forward in regards to, you know, the architects of our human body, or our connection to what is to come, our connection to our star beings, or, you know, our guides, our angels, our beings of light. So it's kind of like that is how we are that antenna for old and new. I want also, with what I just spoke, expand on that for everybody.
It's great what you said, and it's profound that when we walk upon this earth, we walk with the ancients that came before us. And there's a saying that there will come a time when the ancient ones will rise again, and that time is now. And right now, we are the ancients that used to walk upon this earth, and we have left footprints for our future selves, for this now moment, for us to really pick up the knowledge of where we left off so we can continue the work that we have here to do, which is bridging the gap, opening new ways of understanding, and really, really, really reaching in and digging deep within ourselves and opening that sacred heart space that we all hold sacred and bringing through remembrances, not just of yesteryear, but of all the yesteryears, of all the versions that we walked, because there's so much information and knowledge that is stored within us. The very fiber of our being is like a walking history, a walking hall of all this knowledge. And right now, we have a grand opportunity to really open the door and allow that knowledge to come forth in so many ways and just sit and ground, like you said, in the earth, whether it's on the land, on the grass, in the air, in the sea. I love to go into the water and really have those codes unfold within me because we are of the water, we are of the sun, we are of the earth, and the water changes us every day that we drink it. It nourishes us. And through the codes of the sun, we stand and it's burning through all this old layers of debris and bringing the very fibers online through the remembrance and unlocking the codes because the sun is changing as so are we changing the earth. We're all evolving into this grand symphony of beauty that is happening all around us.
Mm.
So it is very profound time that we're actually stepping into right now, and it is amazing to see, to be a part of, watching so many stars being born, coming online. It is a beauty and it is a wonder.
Mm. I could listen to you forever. I think I have, right? Um, and I think what you said there about like opening that door for our most sacred of heart spaces. Delsol, can I ask you, for everybody that's listening, um, can we say our opening prayer? So the only requirement of you, if you're listening to this or you're watching this, is to soften and open and receive. And if Delsol is to give an opening prayer for this remembrance, and you're softening and opening, this is something that you're hearing not only with your ears, this is something you are hearing with your heart space, with your body, with your energy, everything. Okay. So just close your eyes and allow this prayer to open your heart to the remembrance that you hold within.
Feel ne yara toto shurukuto yunon ni idur tun shitai seretere heton sunon sheketere yanan satush urutun su yuruton te eta such et an sataraya to kor tututu yere sinin shi yai soroto chokotoro ton yarata sinin shuku urutui sutu ni ato sho sonon chatai siriayete ete urutoi sinian tatai sete sheketo oton sunun sie. Breathe and allow yourselves to feel vibration in the frequencies, the heart space. Chinainato te. It is an honor to be walking side by side with you all once again. We're not alone on this journey anymore.
Mm-mm. No. And the ripple of vibrational frequency as you were finishing them from my energy was just like, you know. So this year, what else sort of speaking of is part of that evolution, this light language, this ancient language that we hear, and it unlocks and opens. It not only does that, it heals, it brings through codes of information for you. So come back and listen to that again. Come back and listen to that anytime. Come back and see how it feels in your body. You know, where are you feeling it? Really close your eyes and be in that energy, or be in this energy now. And you can feel the vibration has shifted and changes just from delsol saying this. So, and I know we talked about before the call, but yeah, I'm hot now. um, so Delsol, let's talk about evolution then. Let's talk about that evolution, right, of consciousness of the ancients. You know, our connection, you and I, is, let's talk about the evolution of our connection.
The evolution of our connection. Wow. It seems like it's been forever ago
To the
since we
beginning, they're saying, to the beginning. Do not be shy. Do not try to humanize this connection. Do not try to humanize this connection, they're saying.
um wow, the beginning, define the beginning of this concept of beginning to time. In this lifetime, it has been an amazing honor and remembrance to journey through this evolution, because even for me, I have come a long way and I've experienced so much within the last, I would say, 5 years. It's been a whirlwind and also a fast track that I have encountered so many ancient beings along the path. And with each connection, there's remembrance and activations, and not only just for the others, but also for me. For when we come in contact with others, they bring through remembrance for us, and we bring through remembrance for them. So on our evolution, there's many remembrances that I've had with you. And I remember the first time that you heard me spoke and I spoke to you, it was like beauty and wonder all at the same time. And it's like everything that we have known that we thought we were was just a little fraction of what we actually are and what we are actually becoming. So it is a stepping stone and it is a journey of finding ourselves and a connection not only to each other, but to the universe, and opening pathways and waiting for additional connections to come take their place. I envision everything as like a circle, and it is a circle of remembrance, not just for me, but for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's evolution. It's there's so much to say in such a short time. It's the waves and waves of remembrances that I saw you have. And I think you have probably about 20 notebooks full of notes right now, maybe more. I
And
don't know.
probably about 20 gigs of Zoom recordings.
So it's like that. Once you go on that path and you open the door, it's a flood of information that comes through. And you're journeying and journeying and you're journaling and you're experiencing so much, and you have epiphanies after epiphanies and after epiphanies, and just when you think that's it, it's like no, you just started. And
Just
it's,
scratch.
yeah, it, you scratch the surface and you're like, wait, no, there's more. Yeah, there's more. There's so much more than you could ever possibly imagine. It is a constant journey of becoming and unbecoming all at the same time, death and rebirth. And it is real and it is raw. I've seen you at your highest and I've seen you at your lowest. And I remember the day was just like you didn't think you could go on.
Hmm. In Mexico,
Yeah, that you didn't think you could go on.
can't do this. I kept saying, I can't do this anymore.
And
Yeah,
I kept saying that yes, you can. Just keep pushing through, keep pushing through. And here you stand. There you sit right in front of us. It's and you have so much to teach when you thought you wasn't worthy enough and all this doubt you had, it's now
gone.
wow, it's gone. And you look back and you're like, holy shit,
I did
that
that.
was me. I wonder what I was thinking back then.
Well, I
And that's
yeah,
and
you go.
that's okay. It's a look at when you look back and you see it's like, hey, I honor the person I was.
Hmm.
Because if I didn't go through all that stuff, I wouldn't be here filled with this knowledge and
Yeah.
all this information sitting in front of everyone here right now.
Oh, I celebrate her. I don't just honor her, you
And
know?
it is amazing. It is beauty. And that's the becoming process. It
Yeah.
is not all beauty and wonder. There's some shit that we go through.
Yeah. So,
It's it's you have to take the lows along with the highs and it comes and it comes when you're not looking
yeah.
and you're like, oh, whoa, I thought I was, no, you're not. You thought, but evolution, I love the word evolution. We're constantly evolving through many experiences, and our soul's journey will take us to
Mhm.
places that we have no idea we're about to encompass. But our souls will be like, wait till she experiences this
Yeah,
shit.
wait till which is
This will really, this will really knock her on her ass.
oh, I know. Well, I kind of I feel like not the roller coaster is finished. It's just that I've ridden it enough times it's more familiar now, right? So that's what I feel. My recovery is much quicker than what it used to be too. Um,
There you go.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the experience that's we're they're speaking of.
yeah. And I feel like that touch that you made on like how many journals they have and things like that. Why do we journal, right? We know that it's healing. We know that it's like part of a practice. We understand it's so much so closely tied to spirituality. But why the push for journaling? Okay, the journaling, the evolution of my journaling, like just this quickly said segue, was the start of my writing. If I didn't journal, I would not be a writer now, full stop. And I call myself a writer. My editor calls me a writer. So I've had external validation on the writer point. But it's like that journaling, when I look back to my journaling from, say, 2 years ago, right? Like that that writing, what I was channeling at that time, I look at now and go, I didn't understand at the time what I was writing. And I look back at it now and I'm like, oh, holy shit, they've been telling me this stuff for a really long time. You know? So,
Isn't that amazing? Because I too do the same thing when I record and I record something myself speaking 2 years later, I listen to it and I'm like, why am I being activated right now?
mhm,
Because I'm at a point in a time in a space where I could feel that frequency and that vibration that I was emitting back then in this now moment. And it's like, okay, because you left yourself a nugget, this is
mhm,
for you. And we're
yeah,
going to open this within ourselves so
mhm,
you can move on. And honestly, when you look back and you read everything that you've said, that you've wrote and you've experienced, you look at it with a different set of eyes because you're sitting in a new frequency and a new vibration and you're open to receive the answers that you have been seeking.
Mhm.
when all in all, you wrote
By
them
your own
down.
hand from your own channel. Like,
Exactly.
if that doesn't put belief into your hands, if that doesn't put belief into your hands of who you are and what you're here to do, that this is written in your own words, in your own writing, in your own journal, these messages. So when you're journaling and you're receiving channeled messages and you're writing them down, just know that these could be notes to future self, right? Where it
That
may not
is
make sense at the
correct.
time. So, like, for instance, also, like, when we first met, which was almost 2.5 years ago now, okay, which seems like and forever at the same time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I know the first time or the first couple of times that we spoke, I literally, when I think back to that version of me, I literally, I spoke it to you, and I know I had the energy of feeling like a newborn baby. Like, remember, I was trying to speak light language for the first time, and I kept stumbling, I kept repeating, I kept stumbling, I kept repeating, and I said, I literally feel like I'm a toddler. Like, I can't speak yet. I'm trying to speak, but I can't speak. And so,
It's it's funny. It's like you're learning to walk all over again, but
yeah,
in reality, it is the voice and the language that we all came into this world with. We all birth. This is our essence. This is our vibration and the frequency of our soul that
mm,
we speak at this level because this is my vibration. This is my soul's voice.
mm,
So you're relearning how to unlearn everything that society has ever taught us that we were not, but
yeah,
we are, because we each bring through our own signature, our own voice to add to the symphony.
yeah, most definitely. Like, if I know you spoke of listening back to your voice recordings, when I hear back my voice from, a few years ago, 3, 4 years ago, there is a different quality to it now. And I love what you said of, like, this is your soul speaking without the conditioning, without the programming, without the interference, without the distortion or disturbance of societal norms, right? What we're expected to be, say, do within a regular or this dystopian society, or whatever your beliefs are. So it's kind of like my voice now. People are like, oh, I could listen to you talk for hours. And the reason of that is that I hold my truth very close without any disturbance or distortion around it. Okay, so what you're hearing is exactly what delsol, the soul of the voice of my soul, right? And that is what that resonance, that is what that vibration, that is what that frequency is that you resonate with and you feel it. And when I speak, or when we say light language, it is that opening or that remembrance of your heart to that simpler time of life. So when we talk about the evolution of consciousness, the time that we're in right now, I keep hearing repeatedly, we've never had this time before. We've come close many times, but for the evolution in regards to consciousness, this time it will work. This time it's already working. This time we are at the highest level of consciousness since consciousness was created, since thousands and thousands of years ago, when all they communicated with was consciousness. So this channel that's coming through now, you can hear the difference in my voice, the speed in which they want to deliver it. But this opening of consciousness, whatever you're feeling or whatever your dictionary meaning is of consciousness, let it go. Okay, because it is a feeling, it is an understanding that you do not have to conceptualize something before being able to be put into that frequency or be in that frequency. Consciousness is a feeling, it is a knowing that is within you, that you were born with, and that has been slowly chipped away or covered or bricked up around to deny you your intelligence that you hold within, that you hold in your body. So if you're wanting to unlock that internal intelligence, you are going to need to step away from habits, beliefs, programming that you have found comfort in. But what it has is kept your consciousness at a manageable level. Oh, so what they're showing me is, like, what we as a society deem as normal behavior is actually a true distraction, right? So you think about society in regards to alcohol, society in regards to organized sport. I apologize to all my athlete friends. Society, society in regards to what it is that you obtain, what is your status, what is your sense of self based upon, you know, all of these things are linked, intrinsically linked to distract you. So how I mean is like, say for instance, you're watching a sporting game with your friends and there's advertising that comes on that encourages you to gamble. There's advertising that comes on that encourages you to drink. Like all of these things are distractions from your pure essence, because it's anything to stop you thinking singularly, right? When you think as a mob or mentality as a group, you're losing your individual thought process and your individual intelligence. And this is the key here for you unlocking and knowing your knowing, knowing your knowing. They want me to repeat that, to know your knowing. Mm. Doso.
To know, to know your knowing, there's no validation, or you know, you need no validation.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, you said something earlier that we're all here. There's so many of us ancients that are now, what would you say, stepping into the forefront now and expressing our true selves, our authenticity,
Without
and
fear.
without fear that without fear. um I used to be in the background doing, because that's what we as ancient beings do. We take care of stuff in the background and don't like to step out in the limelight. um
You
but
quite
now
happily
it
push
is,
me out there though.
yeah, because you were, that's what, some of us are just meant for that, and others are just like, no, I'll just step back, I'll do my thing, help out back here, help out there. But
Mhm.
now it's a time of no other, like no other, that we really, really, really need to evolve and be seen, because there are times, like you said, it's like there's so much that's happening right now, and we're all needed, not only for ourselves, but for each other. Because when one of us steps out and we're seen, the most difficult and vulnerable thing that we can do is to be vulnerable with our truest authenticity of ourselves, because we're really putting our guts out there of who we are.
Mhm.
And it's scary. It's scary.
Scary
For
as
me, it was the scariest shit that I've ever done, to
Mhm.
go out there in public and be seen. Like I was exposed. But through time, I learned to really harness that and move away from that concept of the fear of being seen, because we've all had incarnations where we've been hunted and we've been killed for our beliefs and who we are and the gifts. Because, of course, as humans, we fear that which we do not understand. But now it's coming to a point where even the younger generations are looking for answers, and they need not just but open the door and see, hey, here's a group of ancient beings here. They're out there in the forefront. They're waiting for us to ask questions. And yeah, we have answers. I may not have all the answers, but there's a circle of us who, if I don't have the answers, there's someone in that circle that has the answers. And I think that's what's so profound now, that there's so many ancients here on this planet that decided to incarnate at this time, this beautiful time. And I like to call it the reckoning of the ancients. We're all stepping out and dancing without a care in the world. And we don't give two flying shits that if people see us or not. But, you know, here we are and here we stand, and we're proud of who we are and what we have the ability to create. And the knowledge that we have in us is going to pass on to the younger generation so they can take up the mantle and move forward, because this is the last time for a great many of us to be here. Hey, retene. So this
For those who are listening on the podcast, I was cheering then.
this is
Please
this
let
is
this
like
be the last time.
this is like the last ride for a great many of us. And hey, we're gonna hold no stops. And this is where we have to evolve past ourselves and look at the community and how we can build that network of communities together. Because we're not here to do it by ourselves. Before it was like, no one can see my work. No one can see my work. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But now there are others that need the work that you are doing, that I'm doing.
Yeah.
They need that. And for them to move forward, to move past that block, that hurdle, because we bring the experience of the collective to the collective. We're not just doing this for us, we're doing this for others.
Yes, it's a
And
legacy.
that's what we got to move. It is a legacy. And it
Mhm.
is a legacy that we're moving as one.
Yeah,
That as one move forward in the circle, the entire circle is fortified and it is activated. That remembrance in each one of us. And it's another one comes and the circle expands and in expanding, it's an eternal, infinite expansion of one. And there are spaces that are left for others to step into.
hmm,
And it is a beautiful thing because we used to do it in the past where we sat around the circle and we gathered and we shared and we expanded together. And that is the process that we're moving to. Just like back in the tribal days, the
exactly.
tribes sat as one. All the tribes gathered in a circle. Yeah, we're going tribal, baby. We're going tribal.
Well, that kind of that evolution, like you can see that as reverse evolution, right? Because we're coming back to the ancients. So what that means, and you can see it across the planet in different ways now, is hierarchy falling. Okay, so when we're coming to circle, there is no hierarchy. Each of us has our own unique gifts. Yes, we're all speaking one voice or we're coming together as one, but each person is integral to bring through the codes in the way that they are. So what I love about that feeling of the circle is it is family, it is village, it is tribe, and it's not about, oh, this person is more advanced or more connected or is bringing through higher frequency of information. No, it is coming together as one to raise all of our frequency and our vibration together, right? And so what Delsa was talking about, this ancient wisdom, this can come through in a small insight. This can come through, like you were saying, when you're in the water, in the sun, in nature. But it is also this feeling of there is more. I am here to do more. Okay, so for what I am here to do, I know my purpose. I'm really clear on my purpose and what I'm here to do, like so crystal clear. And I think in the past or in my evolution, I knew it, but I didn't believe it. I knew it, but I was like, why me? How many times must I fucking ask you, why me? Why me, Delsa? Why did they choose me? And I would be like in tears asking, why me?
Why not you?
Right. And so that is like sometimes we can be freaked out or taken out by the enormity of the task. How am I supposed to do this? Right? We're showing the finish line with no concept of the path. We're shown a finish line. Let me correct that. We're shown a finish line or a marker. Except once we're on the path and we get to that marker, we're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then it opens up to more, and then it opens up to more, and then it opens up to more. If I had been told what I'm doing now back when I started, I may have gone into psychosis, you know? Like, truly, spiritual psychosis is real, but that evolution, it happens for a reason, right? So when you
Yes.
feel like you're showing something that's too much, too big for you, no, the gap between what you are shown and where you deem you are is your belief, because they see you as who you are, what you're here to do. It is your responsibility to bring your belief and your trust and your letting go of your fear, because that is what they're saying. This is you. Step in. So, what is it that you need to let go of to get to that point? What is it that you need to work through? What programming can you let go of, right? And so, I would say the biggest stop for so many people in a spiritual path is their fear of what they're seeing, fear of how big they are, fear of who they are, fear of being seen, like what you spoke of, Del Sol. And Del Sol is one of my, I don't know, I'm sure everybody's realized by now that Del Sol is a big mentor for me. He's been a big part of my journey the past few years. But at the same time, I know there's been times where I've put the cattle prod up to you, which, believe me, I've taken more pleasure in that than I should
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, you're absolutely right. Um, you have done that, and I am so honored that you did because it really, really pushed me out to get out of my comfort zone and to be on stage and to be naked and be seen, and that it was okay to do so with every waking breath that's inside of that was inside of me at the time. Shaking, sweating, nervous, all that stuff. And yeah, I am grateful and I'm honored that you were the one pushing me and say it's okay to be out in the forefront. It's okay to be seen. And
I think my
yeah,
exact words were, "You're very fine with pushing me out here, but come on, big man."
yeah, yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's it was, yeah, I'm great at opening up doors and allowing others to step through the door and to be in the front, like turning on lights, click, 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 click. I'm great at that. And in the meantime, it's like, yeah, I can watch the show. And now I am a part of the show. I'm part of the show, and I was always part of the show in my own way, shape, and form. But now it's more in the foreground where being seen is okay. And it is profound because when I stepped forward, it's signal that the others can step forward as well and take their place. And they're like, we don't have to be scared. No, man, it was scary as shit. I think I did that for all of us. So it is evolving past that fear and truly accepting that the others will come,
Mhm.
and come they did, and they're still coming
Yeah,
and joining. And I hear stories every day that I look into their eyes and it's like, to be seen, it is the greatest thing. It is the greatest gift that you can give to another, to be seen and to be honored for
absolutely.
who you are. And that is the journey of our evolution as one, back to oneness.
This evolution too, like I remember, I would like to just step into uh, the divine masculine and feminine for a bit. Is there anything else you wanted to cover with evolution of consciousness or ancient?
No, I think we're going to cover it more in the masculine and the feminine now.
Yes. Okay. So, this evolution of masculine and feminine, I remember it was like January 1st, 2022. I was in Mexico, and I remember I was in yeah, see, he's already gone. Oh boy, here we go. Um,
Ooh,
and
beautiful.
that 2 month period when I was in Siancan, like just south of Tulum, I was down there in the biosphere, hidden, deep, deep, deep in the jungle. And January 1st, 2022, I had the Divine Mother visitation, remember? And she said the tide has turned and we're coming back to the Divine Feminine. Uh, 2 weeks later, there was like a process that was going on for me, process and process and process. And I talk about all of this whole process in my book as well, about this process that I went through. But then I want to know, Del Sol, do you remember? And I haven't preempted him on this. Do you remember when I sat with the mother, when I went to ceremony and I was so excited? I'd built up built up all of these ceremonies in regards to plant medicine. And then I was sitting with the mother, and I was having all these crazy visions and all of this experience before we even sat with ayahuasca. And then during ceremony, I fell asleep, and I was so disappointed, right? And I slept through the whole thing. And then when I woke up, this whole channel came through. Like, I think it was like a 4-page channel in my journal, and I read it the other day in regards to this divine feminine power that is coming back to the fore, and that, for me, that process there of spending that month, and I was working with Shakti energy, I was working with the mother of plant medicine, I was working with the divine, all of this like divine feminine was coming back to me. And what did that look like, and how did that feel, and how was I to behave, and how was I to be? And this is a process. It's not like I just, oh, in a month's time all my divine, all my feminine aspects were healed, I had no more wounded. But that power and that presence that I felt going through that process then allowed me to start working on those divine feminine and masculine qualities, started working with the wounded feminine and masculine qualities, and allowed me to write about it and evolve that writing and evolve, where that chapter in the book is one of the strongest now in regards to that. So I feel like, Delsol, when I say this balance of power, or this balance between masculine and feminine, or this balance between those divine aspects, when you're coming into divine partnership with someone, like, what does this bring up for you? How would you explain it? How would you expand it? How would you say that evolution has happened? And I know there's a lot of questions there, so just pick whatever you want. I'm just like,
All right, hang on. Let me rewind and go
let me
back and
rewind.
let me rewind. Let me play that. Okay, that's question one. No, what you said in the beginning, the divine feminine is
Mhm.
rising and has been rising for years, because this is the time of the feminine, where the feminine brings the power of creation to this planet and restores balance. For years, the feminine has been pushed down, subjugated, and just looked down on.
Lifetimes.
Yeah, lifetimes after lifetimes, eons of it. And you can tell by the state of the world, there is no feminine energy in there, or very little. So when the feminine is rising, feminine brings divine connection with spirit, divine connection to the ethers, with Gaia, to Mother, to the All.
Nurture, to
And
caretake.
yeah, and it is that through that divine connection that we learn and we understand our emotions, how to heal, how to let go, how to create, when to do certain things. And that had that has been lost, or it was lost for some time. And now it is returned. And so many feminines are really stepping into the greater aspect of what it really, really means to be that divine feminine, to be the sacred divine feminine, to hold space under the power of creation, to bring through and nurture and birth. It is a beauty, and it is amazing to be a part. And now we have the masculine not stepping aside, but really
Yeah,
providing that safe
that,
space.
I was going to say, expand for all of our masculine, our beautiful masculine listeners.
It is
Let's
to
do
not
some
to step
schooling.
aside.
Let's do some schooling, Del Sol, for all of our
it is
beautiful
not to
masculine
it
listeners.
is not to step aside, but to enhance the space so the feminine can get a chance to be that expressive. Because as masculines, we have been afraid of being vulnerable, and that is the vulnerability aspect that allows us connection to a sacred heart space,
Mm.
where in this now time we get to lead with our heart. When we break the walls down and allow ourselves to show our emotions, to really understand from a deeper perspective, and to not be ashamed to feel or to cry or to just sit in peace and ask questions and sit with the feminine and allow that feminine to be her true authentic self. There's power in that. There's so much explosive energy. There's so much creative energy that's in that. When you get into a union, it's there. And you sit, and as a masculine, you create that safe space for that feminine to be. And it's vice versa. It is honoring the feminine while you honor the masculine within you, because the masculine offers that protection, that hunter gatherer, that ability to just be and build and
Mhm.
take action with the feminine. So it goes hand in hand. You can't, not supposed to have one without the other. Um, so it's a time of balancing and rebalancing of the feminine and the masculine, but the feminine has to remember, has to give remembrances of
Mhm.
that space and that portal, bring through that portal energy
I do.
of creation.
I definitely agree with what you're saying because I feel like and this, please know that Del Sol and I are talking about this masculine and feminine energy. So if you're in a partnership, like at any time, either one of you can be in your masculine or your feminine energy. Okay.
Correct.
So this is like the balance between when we're talking about masculine and feminine form or in a relationship, if you're wanting, um, if you feel that your feminine in your partner is not nurturing or caring for you, are you providing a container for them to feel safe to do so? Right? So the nurture and care, the creativity, the intuition, the inspiration, all of this starts to come through when the feminine feels safe. Okay? When the feminine feels safe, she will do everything for you, right? Within balance, of course. But it's like that feeling of being protected creates miracles. Because, like you
Yes.
said at the start of it, like for lifetimes, we've been, persecuted, we've been weaponized, we've been, tortured, killed, maimed for being feminine, for being in our feminine essence, for trusting our feminine intuition. So if you're wanting that solid relationship, that idea of protection or that idea of holding the container or that idea of being that support person doesn't mean that you need to fix or give advice or shut down or be in avoidance or anything like that. It's more about allowing that flow of energy to come through. In the same thing, like if you're in the feminine form and you're wanting your man to step into his divine aspects, it is the responsibility, and I may upset people with this, it is the responsibility of the feminine in your divine aspect to lead your divine masculine to that point. Okay. When you are saying to your partner, oh, you don't make me feel safe, you don't feel protected, you don't make me do this, it's like, well, are you cultivating that feeling within you? Are you showing that masculine form how to do this? When the rising up of the divine feminine essence is here and this divine feminine energy is here to explode, it is our role when we step into that divine feminine energy to teach, to lead, to learn, right? The minute you start blaming or shaming or anything like that, you're dropping into the wounded feminine essence. So if you are not prepared to teach, if you're not prepared to hold space, if you're not prepared to be the container for the masculine energy when he's in his feminine energy, when he's in emotion, when he wants to nurture and care for you, are you able to provide that safety for him? Are you able, as a divine feminine, to provide safety for him to be vulnerable? Right? Without needing to fix or give advice or change the situation. So that is how the flow of energy begins. This is how it expands, stepping into the role as the teacher.
It is that word, vulnerability, to be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable on both sides, in both aspects.
Yes.
And when you do that, you look through a different set of eyes and you honor each individual where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
And we come and we are supposed to enhance each other without expectation of anything. Because once we set that expectation, we we tend to like, okay, I want this,
Yeah.
but I don't want that. It's like you have to love all the aspects, the good and the bad,
Mm-hmm.
in one, because we don't always accept the good. I mean, always accept the bad, but the bad is always in us. No one's perfect. We're
Mm.
not perfect. And
This
that's
is
what we have to
unconditional
do.
love piece, right?
Yeah, we have to accept all the imperfections in one another as well. And it is it is honoring each one, each person where they're at
Mm-hmm.
in their own vulnerable state and allowing them to open up in the
In
space
their
that we
own
create.
time. Yeah.
Correct.
That's one of the keys too, because we, especially doing this kind of work, like the most common questions I think I get asked when I'm doing readings with people is like when, how, how, when. And
The
so
win is never the win is never
I know
determined.
I've asked it.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. Um, so I'm owning it. But that whole thing of unconditional love, vulnerability, okay, courage. You think of that as like that circle of vulnerability, courage, unconditional love, right? When we're stepping into vulnerability, when we're being vulnerable with our heart, with our work, with who we are, it takes courage, right? It takes a great amount of courage. It does get easier and your vulnerability can expand. And how vulnerable you can be grows as well. And the interplay of unconditional love, you can be vulnerable, you can be courageous, right? With unconditional love, that lets go of that expectation that you're talking of, because the expectation goes with unconditional love, because I love you, full stop, right? My love for you is not dependent on your response to what I'm asking or how I'm being vulnerable. Okay. Me being vulnerable is about me, right? Unconditional love is about no expectation of how you receive that. If you're ready to receive it or not is not up to me, right? So this is like that play of, well, it doesn't mean I want to stop being vulnerable. It doesn't mean I want to stop being courageous. It doesn't mean I want to stop being unconditional love. It just means that this part of me, may retract for a moment and then it expands again, because because then I fall into that unconditional love where I'm like, well, me being vulnerable is about me growing my courage muscle. Me being vulnerable is another lesson in regards to unconditional love. Like, how deeply can you unconditionally love someone? Right? And I'm not talking about, a breakdown of boundaries or things like that, or being abused or being shut out or anything like that. Unconditional love for self allows you to walk away from a situation that is harming you if you unconditionally love yourself. You know, it's just, if you can be vulnerable and be open and be in your truth and speaking it with love, that's it. That's fucking gold. That should be
And that
celebrated.
and that brings us to being in the flow
Mm-hmm.
of how things happen and how things unfold. We
Yeah.
have a control over us and how we react to the situation that is presented to us. And it is honoring the choices as the other honors the choices that we have and that we're making. So it is being in the flow. And it's like all choices must be honored. And whether we agree, whether we like it or not, it comes down to choice. And hey, I have to honor that choice. And just like I have to honor that choice, you have to honor my choice. And it is sometimes it can be difficult because sometimes we get in our ego and we step in and it's like, hey, I want this, 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 but I don't want that. So take a step back and honor the space that is being created and that you're in and the other parties in, and then create that vulnerable opening and sit and talk and create.
I know you're talking to me right now and you think you're being sneaky.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sitting here going, delsol. I am hearing you.
I'm just gonna someone needed to hear that.
Yeah. Okay, she heard it loud and clear.
Someone needed to hear that.
So this is part of the evolution. Are you open to hear the messages? Because that is, listen to my throat chakra now. So this is the thing, when we talk about evolution, so many people now are like learning about their intuition and expanding. This When messages come through like this, sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. I feel like that's the difference between intuition and fantasy. Intuition is what you need to hear. Fantasy is what you want to hear.
Yeah, it's not always what you want to hear. It's
Mm.
what you need to hear. And
Mm.
it can be the most rawest piece of thing that you hear, and it'll drop you to the knees. And if you're not vulnerable, you're vulnerable after you hear it.
Mhm.
So you learn to come back from that space.
And the more I resist it, the more truth lays in it.
Oh yeah. It's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks, and you're like, wait, where'd this come from?
Mm-hmm.
We've been knocking at that door, So
Yeah.
yeah, be open to the flow and be open to all answers to the questions that you've been asking, not just the specific answer that you're looking for, all the answers and all the possibilities that may come of it. Flow.
I am open to all possibilities. I love being in flow. I love the
Yes.
universe surprises on a daily basis. I know the universe has more planned for me than anything my little human mind could imagine. Okay, so to finish stuff though, I'm wondering if we open up the evolution and where it's going. Oh, I just saw your eyes flicker about 700 times.
Oh my God.
When people have sight and you ask them a question like that, the visions come like,
Ah, yeah. Sometimes I do it when I'm recording in the morning. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And see all this. Um,
okay, so
wow.
let's talk about utopia, nirvana, whatever, what's coming. I love the word utopia for this. So if we open up the evolution of consciousness for what is to come, what message comes through for you?
The communities that we're building and creating will be beautiful, and it will be fortified with the knowledge of all our ancestors that came before us.
Mm.
And the knowledge will move us forward, literally picking up where we left off in a grand and beautiful way. We have many architects here on this world waiting to be pulled to the forefront and to express their knowledge in so many ways. We have so many healers, way showers that are here already blazing a path and creating the foundation of these communities. Because I'll say it again, we're not here to do this alone. We have help. And it is to recognize that we are not here alone. There's so many things that are on our shoulders that we have to build and create, but we only have a piece of the big puzzle. And when we bring it in this massive collaboration of communities, we will see from a higher perspective how all these pieces fit together. And that is the beauty of what we are creating in this evolution, which will be very sustainable and push us beyond anything that we could ever possibly imagine. Of course, what we're creating is not only for us, but for the younger generations to come before us, come after us. So remember, the younger generation will always surpass the one that came before it because we're giving them all the nuggets that we're digging up and we're leaving it for them so they don't have to work as hard as we did to get those nuggets. So they can take those nuggets and expand upon and create. So it is the beauty of evolution is to evolve beyond beyond this frequency, beyond this vibration that we're currently in. And many of us are experiencing those frequencies where we're shifting those timelines and we're catching those waves and those glimpses of timelines collapsing.
Mm.
And we're beginning to remember more. This isn't our first time. And this won't be our last time. Well, in this world anyway. So I'll
Yeah.
just leave it at that.
You made a promise. Thank you.
Yeah,
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 it's
it's
beautiful.
evolving in the grandest way. It has.
And I think that is um sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze and apologies everybody.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Bless me.
Yes.
I think that's the thing here. It's like whatever we can think, whatever we can dream, whatever we can imagine is possible, can become reality.
Yes.
Full stop. Full stop. So when we think of this expansion of consciousness, exactly what you said, we're building this as legacy for those that are to come. So maybe it's going to take a lifetime or 2 lifetimes or 3 lifetimes to get there, but it does not diminish the power that one person can make change, that two people can make change, that community comes together and make change. So the rapidness in which people are coming to the spiritual community or expanding their consciousness is so exciting to me. How many people are curious now rather than like, yeah, but what else do you do, when they ask me what I do for work? you know I love.
And you really want to open that door?
Yeah, do you really want? Yeah.
And
So
yes, they do.
yeah, and I just love the fact that the way that we feel it's going to go, or the way that we feel this evolution is going to happen, it's going to be so much more magnificent, so much more on a bigger scale. We're trying to figure it out on a little tiny micro scale, and they're playing big macro stuff. We've seen with the news headlines in the past few weeks that the ocean is reclaiming. The
Don't
ocean.
get me started on that.
We're gonna have to do. Can we please do a podcast on that? Because I said that to someone in the surf the other day, and when I expanded on it, their eyes were like bugging out of their head. So we need to do a podcast on how the ocean is reclaiming everything.
Yes. I would
The
love that.
the universe, the natural world will help us and assist us to bring back natural order if we honor and we are caretakers of our natural world. This is a symbiotic relationship. So if you are taking care of your local area, of your garden, of your nature reserve, if you pick up trash, if you're looking after the ocean, large scale, small scale, it doesn't matter. Anytime you step into that nurture of the natural world, this is your divine feminine aspect coming through. Okay. And when that energy is put back into the earth, she honors us and replenishes. Please know that on a large scale, the earth will reset. Natural order will be returned. Okay, so it's just a matter of fact, it will. And this expansion of consciousness is assisting that process, is assisting that process. So I know which side I'm going to be on.
So I'll leave this here. The ocean is a grand thing
Mhm.
that that humans know very little about. It is the most resilient thing in this ecosystem. And we have been underestimating the deep dwellers for a
Yeah.
long time,
Hmm.
and it's time for the deep dwellers to rise, and it'll be profound when
Profound
they
is a
do.
beautiful word.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so. I've loved this conversation, brother. Thank you.
As have I.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I don't get to say that much often, but yes, I am having loads and loads of fun.
Good. This will not be the last episode. I know that for a fact. With my dear friend Del Sol. He's amazing, and if you're wanting to find out more about Del Sol, in the notes down below, I've put his contact details, his website. Just reach out. You want to connect with him on Instagram. The same thing. If something that I've said has struck a chord, then reach out through my normal channels. I want to thank everyone for listening, for everyone who always sends feedback. You're welcome to connect to my newsletter. I do writing each week in the newsletter, just one email a week, so I'm not going to flood you, but it is always a long writing on the theme for the week too. This week, it is juicy, juicy, juicy. So if you want to connect to me through my website, nicolelovingearth.com, and join the newsletter, join community. Um, Delso, is there anything that you would like to finish with? Is there any parting remarks that you would like to share?
I would love to have a closing blessing if you would allow.
Yes, please. Thank you.
It has been an honor here on this podcast, and I'll be back again. For everyone out there, the journey still continues. のんちでややらたとろことしゅろとにいいしとろとおるととんてえてえしゃらたやらたととんと tinihi yayara tashi is urokoto yerene ai. Tete shukur kotun. Tia sotosh koto yoro no nihiyete. Toshiye heta. Tanashoro toyoto sukur koto ni. Sinihi ay soto hoto yenane etawato. Sui hurun. Tiche iyane heto. It is an honor to be here in this now moment. Thank you.
It's an honor to be here with you too. Hmm.
Much love to everyone out there.
Much love. I did have something I wanted to say, but it's gone completely out of my head after that channel.
I look forward to seeing
Yeah,
many more step forward and take their part in the circle
yeah,
of
me
creation, of remembrance.
too. Of
So
remembrance, of evolution. Ah, evolution. So exciting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a blessed day, a blessed evening, no matter where you are in the world. Know that I love you. Know that I love you. I thank you, Del Sol, for being here. And
enjoy.
enjoy.